Russia seems to be doing okay. They're still not giving up placing another Eurobond this year, despite the toughest U.S. sanctions to date.
That's right. There's a really strong current in the market here, looking for this to be for the worst to be over here after the battering the market took last week, and a lot of people, both in the government and in the market, are looking for a bottom, hoping to say that the worst of the sanctions are over. The reports overnight that Trump had decided to hold off on further sanctions seem to be what people were looking for, although we haven't had official confirmation of that yet, and it's not entirely clear where things are going. So there's still a bit of an uncertainty in the market, and it hasn't made up all of the losses that we saw last week.
All right, but we're not seeing that, a bout of panic selling that we had, because at the time they also had to cancel, I believe, Gregory, a bond auction, right? And that was the first time that they canceled an auction since 2015.
That's right. That's right. No, the markets are much more orderly now. The finance ministry has told us that they're hoping to conduct this week's bond auction as usual. Things are normalizing. The rubles bounced back, although I think it lost a little ground from the early morning on the weakness in oil. But at the same time, we are hearing, as our colleagues in the U.S. reported overnight, that BlackRock, one of the biggest holders of Russian debt, is still uncertain about how strong to commit, a sense of concern about reputational risks on that. Things that hadn't been an issue with Russian investments in the past are now coming up on a lot of investors asking questions about, is this something we can really hold in the long term?
Greg, in the chaos of Washington Russia news, there were 4 or 5 stories yesterday, and one of them was a president just completely pushing against his team on further Russian sanctions. How is the president perceived by the elite and the financial elite of Moscow? Is he perceived as a friend of Mr. Putin, as Mr. Trump would like to perceive Mr. Putin to be his friend?
I don't think friend is quite the right word. I think there's a sense, there was certainly euphoria last year when he was first elected and the pledges to improve relations, but that ended pretty fast after it became clear there was not going to be a quick rapprochement between the leaders. And now there's an element of frustration, but so far they're sort of holding out hope that Trump, while, that his heart's in the right place, but that he can't actually deliver because of competing interests around him and the political situation there. So far, the Russians have been unwilling to go after him, certainly in public, personally, even as they're very unhappy with U.S. policy on the whole.